Hi, everybody. I hope you're all well. Okay, I said yesterday that I have something else to talk to you about. And look, I'm utterly sick and tired of talking and talking about Harry and Meghan's delusions, of their behavior, of the United States Constitution, of what it means to have a constitutional monarchy. We are talking and talking and nothing is happening. The Harkles are still being given platforms to lie on, threaten people from, throw shade from, and promote themselves from. And they are still doing it using their British titles. Meanwhile, the future king has just brought out a perfume, and his merching is also doing very well, thank you very much. I believe the future king was quite the thespian in his younger years. So maybe Bollywood has a role for him in one of their movies one of these days. Oh, how jolly. Anyway, guys, I do not want to talk about the commercialization of the royal family today. That's not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk to you about is about ambition. You know, that dirty word Meghan abused in her podcast. I say abused because Meghan clearly confused ambition and sexism during this podcast. And once again, the supposed negativity towards a woman having ambition is all, again, men's fault. So I'm wondering, if Meghan Markle hates men that much, why is she still clinging to Harry? Now, the first thing that angers me about Meghan's narrative is this: whether you are a feminist, religious or not, straight or gay, we all agree that the strongest bond between people is the bond of blood, or then family. And then that is how it is supposed to be. I think, however, that the most destructive and damaging thing we are seeing happening in Western culture these days is the destruction of the family unit. And I'm sorry to say this, but it is true. The more the family unit is destroyed, the weaker we are getting. Without that incentive to protect and nourish, men become limp wristed, freely blowing wherever the wind takes them. Well, obviously, not all, this is a generalization, but many do. Without that incentive to protect and nourish, the women need not become those fierce lionesses protecting their cubs and the weak or their family unit. It does not matter who you choose as a partner. That is not what I'm talking about. I am talking about a committed family structure. These words by the likes of Markle and company attacking men, whether it is under the guise of talking about gender equality, ambition, or whatever, is nothing but an attack on the essence of all our being, whether you are male or female. I'm tired of hearing about women's rights. What about men's rights? What about human rights? Now, I watched the Dr. Phil show a while ago and started watching the episode about 10 minutes in, and immediately I landed on where Dr. Phil was going off on the guy for slapping his wife or girlfriend, pulling her hair and putting her in a headlock. However, the video footage shows how the guy is walking away from the woman. He even tells her, "Leave me alone, let me chill." But she follows him into the lounge, screaming, shouting, and hitting him. And other clips shows her even throwing things at him. Yes, eventually in this episode or program, they addressed her behavior. But if I looked at the audience and how they gasped and carried on, and even at what Dr. Phil said, it made me wonder about men's rights. Because what I ultimately took away from the program was that if a guy hits a girl and she hits him back, it is self defense, right? But if a girl hits a guy and he hits her back, then it is assault. And that, my dears, I personally think is effed up, unbalanced, and unfair. I'm sick of those females who are rich and living in mansions and who, in their 30s and 40s, do not really have to work anymore. And then them talking to us about equal pay and equal opportunities for women in the workplace. In the first place, they are 10 years too late with their narrative. In most countries, and certainly in mine, it is against the law for an employer to discriminate and pay a female doing the same job as a man less than her male counterpart. Secondly, this whole gender equality crap, which mostly comes from the very people who would complain if there is no light above a mirror in a bathroom so they can touch up their makeup, is so distorted by the likes of Meghan Markle and Dr. K and other woke liberals that instead of it being a good thing, it has become toxic. Yes, getting the same pay for the same job may be nothing more than fair, and in most modern and Western societies, this is governed by law. But why would a real woman want to be treated the same as a man otherwise? I certainly don't. I want that bin next to my loo for the disposal of sanitary pads. I want that light over the mirror. I appreciate the extra time off after having a baby. After all, I was made to menstruate and have babies. And I want to be loved and respected for that, just like I respect the man who can open that bottle that I can't, who can carry a little more stuff all at once than I can, who can run faster than me. Okay? Because that is how he was made. And no, I do not want to stand next to a guy and wee in a urinal. So thank you very much. I appreciate sometimes being treated a little differently. Now, Meghan speaks about ambition being a dirty word when it comes to women, and that it is often linked to other concepts like climber, blah, blah, bloody blah. Well, it is clear that not only is Meghan living in a make believe world where there are no female doctors, no female lawyers, although she played one in Suits, no female pilots, and so forth. Because in my book, women who become lawyers, pilots, doctors, and so on are indeed ambitious. And I have always admired them and never thought a woman slept her way into a pilot seat. No, of course not. Can you imagine the announcement? Ladies and gentlemen, please be patient. Your pilot is trying to figure out how to take off as her lover forgot to tell her that part during sex last night. Of course, that is ridiculous. Women work to get to where they want to be, just like men. And therefore, equal opportunity to me means the best qualified for the job, whether you are male, female, or in between. But there is something else Megan does not understand about ambition. For her, the word ambition is synonymous with money. She understands it as the more ambition you have, the more money you have or will have. Well, again, I'm sorry to burst her bubble, but that is not true. Ambition comes in many forms. Each person's ambition is almost as unique as their fingerprint. One person's ambition may be to be the best mother ever and to run an organized household. Another's ambition may be to climb the highest mountain peaks in the world, become a renowned artist, a dancer, a singer, dive all the oceans, travel around the world. Your ambition being to write a book, to become an entrepreneur, a lawyer, a nun, a doctor, and so on and so on. And then there are also the combinations of ambitions, you know, like I want to climb the highest mountain peaks and become a famous singer or whatever. But you know what? Whatever your ambition is, big or small, whether it comes with financial reward or not at all. It is okay. It is all okay. You still deserve love and respect as much as the guy or girl with these grandiose ambitions. Megan has no right to tell you that a girl with ambition is less liked or respected, as it is not true and has not been true for almost 100 years. As a matter of fact, it had never actually been true. Whether Gul's ambition 500 years ago was to become a good cook so she could convince the love of her life to ask for her hand in marriage, she still had ambition and dreams. Remember, there is a difference between being ambitious and being money hungry or hungry for fame. Ambition has nothing to do with fame or money, but instead has everything to do with your individual needs, your individual talents, and your uniqueness. And don't let the markers of the world tell you otherwise. Do not feel less because your ambition is to be a mother, or your ambition is to travel the world with a backpack. Okay? So what if your ambition is not to live in a $14 million mansion in Montecito? Whether you live in a council flat and you enjoy being a prolific artist, or whether you live in a mansion, you are entitled to your best life. And do not let Meghan Markle ever tell you otherwise. Okay, my dear friends, that is it from me for today. Please take good care of yourselves. Bye.